Thank you so much, TJ. We appreciate you guys. Shout out to BMAC, the big commish, and to you guys. Okay. There's some news to talk about here. I don't know if you were just watching the PGF, but there was a lot of nerve-wracking action, specifically joint breaks in the lower body region. For example, this took place today. Now, listen, this looks like a very nice and normal leg lock, but it made several pops here, and it made the audience slightly groan. But what's interesting about that photo is, if you zoom it in, it actually tells a few more stories. First, Abe the Mountain looking at it and going, ugh. And then a female looking over and saying, I don't know. Meanwhile, these guys are deep in thought as that is happening in the background, and even more still, our own ref, PJ, kind of mystified as to what's going on. We're mystified about it too, but we got this and much more to talk about. You're watching the PGF Post Show. What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Rap Esparza, coming to you with another great installment of the Bullpen. It is the day one conclusion. We have finished action here. 30 matches have taken place on the mats behind us, and we are glad that you're joining us to have some discussion. If you're in the chat sections, look alive, give us some notes, give us some love too. Make sure you are commenting, and sharing on these posts. It really does mean a lot to us here, but I'm not the only person here. I've brought two great analysts and friends, better analysts than friends, honestly, if we're really kind of figuring out which one's which. We'll go first to one, Tim Freeman. Tim, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, but my knees are sore just from watching the action tonight. I feel like I need to go to my ortho and get checked out, maybe get fitted for some braces here, man.
It's a very, very smart idea in this time. But speaking of which, we're going over to an athlete here who I'm sure watched it with a little bit of vested interest. One, Kevin Sherrill. Kevin, what make you of day one of action, sir?
Yeah, it's good to see my legacy is still alive and Davis is following in my footsteps, taking breaks and then continuing to compete with the double ankle wraps. Not the way I would have done it, but unfortunately is the way I did do it.
It is the way you did do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, man, it's not by choice.
Listen, guys, there's a lot to talk about here, so we're now going to go to our topic boards. We have a few that we want to bring to your attention, and then we'll get to some interviews. We have some folks lined up who you saw compete on the mats today. But first and foremost, our first topic is as such. Them's the breaks. Ladies and gents, I don't know if you were watching today, but if you were anybody here in this live audience, you were concerned for everybody's knee line. I talked to a lot of different athletes, and even they were kind of astounded at how some knees stayed intact and other legs seem held together by glue stick. I'll first ask you, Tim, what make you of all the leg attacks that we were seeing here today?
There were a lot, and they were pretty gnarly. Sometimes you hear something and you go like, was that a pop? Did you hear that? Oh, no, that was the mat, or that was somebody closing a door. Not with Davis Asari and Ryan Aiken. When you heard the pop, everyone in the building reached down and grabbed their knee, checked their ankle, made sure they could walk around, did a little shakeout. They're like, okay, I'm okay. There were some serious breaks out there. We also saw Abraham the Mountain come in off the bench and take Andre Porfirio out pretty quickly, too, if I remember correctly. Pretty serious leg attacks. We didn't see too much back action, but we did see guys shoot for the legs with devastating consequences tonight.
Very much so. We'll go to you, Kevin. What were your thoughts on some of the leg lock action here tonight?
Yeah, there were periods of time after seeing those two initial breaks where 30 seconds of double shootouts and other matches would go by and you're just not breathing for a little bit. You're just holding your breath, waiting to hear the pop. Unfortunately, two athletes did take some damage. Fortunately, neither of them has a passion for dancing, so I think we're okay.
I mean, Abe himself does love dancing. I don't know if you caught that bit, though.
Protect that man.
Protect him indeed. But there were moments, I don't know if you guys saw me over on the side, where I would watch the leg attacks happen and go, blip, blip,
Yeah.
blip, blip. So I've mostly been keeping from vomiting, but that's only day one. Gentlemen, why don't we go to our second topic here? This is a second topic that I think we need to address in this particular way. Today, we saw the shot clock was used to initiate action, which is good, but there is a story to talk about here with some of the athletes and the shot clock. But I will get to that in just a second. I'll just open it up and ask both of you how you thought the shot clock affected today's action. Kevin, I'll start with you.
Honestly, I think I like it. I think I like the stall calls. Crazy words to hear out of my mouth. I think I like it. The shot clock is a massive improvement. I love that it puts the call in the hands of the athlete. You call them for stalling, whether they agree with it or not, they have 20 seconds to make their case, and it created a ton of action. This is a massive improvement. Credit to the PGF, credit to the referees for making this adjustment and making it so well. It's fantastic. Every year the PGF gets better. This is just another step forward.
Thank you for that, Kevin. I'll ask you, Tim, same question, but how did you see it playing out here from your side seat?
Well, it was enforced aggressively right out of the gate, and I actually liked that because I thought it set a good tone. I think it's harder to ratchet it up near the end without the athletes getting super upset about it, Kevin. So, one of the things they did is they came right out of the gate, and it was mostly defensive stalling. You didn't see too much offensive stalling, but what it does is it forces them to take a shot. It's just like the NBA, man. You can't shoot an air ball either. You got to touch the rim. You got to do something. You have to change your position, even if that makes you give up your back. We saw lots of action because of that. And then it kind of felt like the refs kind of pulled it back a little bit. They weren't so aggressive with it. We'll probably see more of the same thing, but I definitely think the shot clock is in the heads of the athletes now. We saw a couple guys go up and argue the shot clock to the ref, namely Kyle Boehm and Elijah Carlton. They both had something to say.
That was something I wanted to bring up to the group, which is we have people now actually coming up and addressing the main desk. And I wondered, how do we feel about this? Because it's such an active part of the show now. Like, for the audience, I think they're getting more action, but the athletes are very much on edge, feeling like they might get a call. Kev, you've been there. What does it feel like to be an athlete under the gun when it seems like the world is against you because you're not giving them what they want?
Oh, that happened last year. That happened last year as well. Let's not get a little too excited here. I had Jet Thompson on my back and got, with a body triangle, I'm fighting for my life. I got hit for stalling and walked myself in a circle to take a look at the referees and, quote, said, "You're fucking tripping." And then proceeded to continue to get mauled by a teenager. Elijah complained pretty vehemently last year. There were a lot of vocal complaints last year. I honestly think that's part of it. I think it gets worse when you can't have a dialogue with the referees, with the officials. I think being allowed, even if they disagree, even if you're not right, there were a couple of calls today where one Eddie Bravo came out of the stands while simultaneously some of my training partners were arguing the opposite side. That's going to happen. That's part of being a ref. It's an uncomfortable position to be in, but it is what you walk, and they're doing a good job navigating it. They're adjusting on the fly. I think it's great. I really like what's going on.
Tim, what make you, because I know you were right next to where some of this was taking place.
Yeah, I sat right next to the referee table. I actually had a chance to chat with him and ask him about it. And the whole motivation behind it is to push the action. Namely, they don't want guys eating up the clock in a defensive manner. So yes, Kevin, somebody's on your back. Maybe it's a teenager, maybe it's not. And then you look at the clock and you go, I can eat 45 seconds with this monster on my back. And what the PGF wants to do is go, no, you actually can't. You're going to have to really do something, and that's going to be taking a risk, and you might get opened up and you might get killed. That was pretty much the motivation behind it, but it was interesting to hear Drew Murillo's response to one of the athletes was, you do your job and I'll do mine. So while I think they're open to feedback, I think too much feedback is going to get nipped. You can't have too many people going up to the ref during the course of an event. Maybe it has to be something like Major League Baseball where the managers can go up or the coaches can approach the umpire, but the players, they got to take a step back.
I kind of want to see the coaches go up there now.
Man,
Yeah,
I
that actually has me very
strongly
excited.
oppose that. I love letting the athletes talk it up. I see your point. You're not crazy. But I love letting the athletes speak their piece. We want personalities in the PGF. We want the roster to speak up. Let Elijah flip him the bird.
I mean, I think it's cool if they want to make, do signs and stuff on the mat, but I just don't think you should be able to go all the way up to the head referee table and address him right live
I think
during
you
the
should
event.
be able to vault the table and tackle Drew.
I challenge
Hold
you,
on.
Drew.
Flipping the table in this economy? No, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, we'll go ahead and get off of that topic. We have one last topic before we get to our guests. And I thought that this is an interesting thing. For those of you who have never experienced this before, maybe this is your first time doing a PGF, let's walk you through this. Maybe you thought there would be 100 points on the board. That's just not what happens. What you saw was a regular day one of action, but not without a ton of important moments. Not only important, but I argue ones with heavy implications. I'm going to go to each of you to kind of preview what it is that you saw in terms of today's action. I start with you, Tim Freeman.
Day one is a little bit like open mat. It's like those first 3 rounds where you're kind of feeling yourself out a little bit. You're seeing what your body feels like, what your opponents feel like. You're getting your lungs and your heart warmed up, and you're getting your head in the game. There's a lot of that feeling out on day one. What happens, though, is you end up having guys who start to show up and put points on the board like Marcin did today, but then you also have guys that expect to put points on the board that don't. They go home tonight, and they really stew it over, and tomorrow they come back with a vengeance. So you should expect the intensity to slowly ramp up over the week, especially look for Wednesday because that's where the break day comes. But this was a pretty standard Monday in the PGF. It was a very good day one. Some good storylines broke out. We're going to be able to pay attention to them and follow them through the week.
Thank you for that. Kevin, your thoughts?
I have a case study I want to bring up to talk about why draws, even if it's not resulting in points on the board, it's not resulting in maybe that finality that you as a viewer wanted, still matter. And it's Davis Asari. He took damage in an ankle. It was a really nasty break. He's one of our, I'm going to call it an injury. He may or may not continue competing, but he stepped up for his final match, wrapped up both ankles, and went out there and took Kyle Boehm to a draw to keep points off the board. Kyle Boehm is leaving today with 0 points because Davis Asari didn't put an alternate in, took one for the team, went out there, probably didn't get to do jiu-jitsu the way he wanted to, but still put on an impressive performance, a lot of action, with a lot of heart. I think you have to manage your expectations, and you have to look at the jiu-jitsu, and you have to look at the stories of the athletes and where they're coming from and things in context, and you create a really, really beautiful, larger picture. A lot of action. Ignore the numbers.
I also want to say this. This is your first glimpse at some major storylines, and we're seeing some take place. Perhaps none as interesting as the team storyline. Tim, you recently got some intel from Egghead. Do you mind sharing with us where we currently stand with the teams?
Yeah, no problem. So a little bit surprising, the team that's on top, I think they got a B or a B plus today, and that would be.
Wait, are we sure they got a B or a B plus? Sometimes we just give out D's and we're not sure which one it is.
Yeah, I gave New Hope a B. I'm not sure what Kevin gave them. Kevin flashed a D
I'm not
on
sure
him,
what I gave
think.
him.
Kevin flashed a D on him, and we had to tell him to put
I don't
that
think
away.
you
Well,
can
first
say
of all,
that.
you can't flash a D on anybody like
You
that.
can't
This
just
is
throw out
fine.
that phrase,
This is
man.
Kevin
a
we're
fam-
talking about,
This is a
guys.
family show. You can't just be talking about
Yup.
flashing Ds.
The team that we had originally kind of thought was maybe on the lower side of the scoring poll here is Intrana, and they ended up with 9 points in second place, following New Hope's 12. Constellation pulled up with a 7, and we weren't expecting a ton from them today. And First Form pulled up with a 7, which I think for them might be disappointing. I think maybe they were coming into this expecting to leave day one with a big lead on the board, but still anybody's game. And I think this is kind of a good sign for Constellation and Intrana that they're in the game. If they could manage to do this next 3 days, they have a real shot at taking home that team prize.
Thank you for that update, Tim. All right, ladies and gents, we're now going to take a moment to actually get our next guest in. Now, our next guest is going to come in. He was a playmaker for the day. He was somebody who impressed us so nearly and dearly that he caused audible gasps here at the show. And we thought it was important to give him his props, his due. But before we bring him on, I just want to say thank you to our sponsor, Salt, for coming through, giving us some love, giving us some appreciation. And we always appreciate those people who support grappling because that allows us to do fun things like this. And we cannot thank you enough. But nonetheless, if you were watching today, you were probably told multiple times that our first guest was somebody to have eyes on. And today he performed in a way that made all of us stand out and look and say, oh, we have a true contender emerging here today. So we thought for the very first time we would bring onto the show one, I apologize in advance if I get this wrong, Marcin Arsulowicz. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Actually, it was a very good try.
It was very, you know what? You would be surprised how many names I screw up in English. So I take that very well. How do you say it, sir?
Marcin Maciulewicz.
No.
That's too fast.
That's a very,
Way too fast.
very nice pronunciation. It's very beautiful, your accent. I don't have that.
Okay, cool.
Okay, but let's talk about today. Sir, how did it feel to be out there today, and what was your favorite moment from your side of the action today, sir?
I think the favorite moment would be the first finish, which was the Z-lock. So it was my plan to go from top, chase the leg locks, make him tired a bit. Not came out that much exactly, but like getting the momentum. Andre is a very big name. I was like looking up to face him, so getting up that quickly was a big moment for me. Facing Paul was also like in my mind because I was looking up to him when he was winning the trials. And also like the third match, which was my plan to pull guards, just chase leg locks. Like, I mean, in general, I'm very happy to be here to show myself across the ocean. I'm already like do some mess in Europe, and it's time to perform here.
So to summarize, your favorite part was everything. Okay. Just wanted to make sure we were getting that correct.
Yeah.
I was so impressed by your Z-lock.
Okay.
And then I was also scared of it.
Yeah.
What was the noise that you heard, and what were you thinking? Because there was a transition. You were kind of like there was some spinning. There was a couch that seemed like it was part of the action as well. But to me, without the couch, you had that very firmly in place. So walk us through that finish, if you wouldn't mind, sir.
Yeah, so recently I work a lot to finish the Z-lock and to get into this position because I was going only for like inside heel hooks, and that was the time to like add something more to the arsenal. So I was like creating like dilemmas between getting inside heel hook and pass it across to the other side for outside. Then I was able to collect the second leg, and once I get it, I feel like pretty confident I will get the submission. Unfortunately, he don't want to tap early, and that was a pretty nasty pop.
Yeah, no, a lot of concern in my face. I didn't vomit. I wanted to, but I stayed strong, sir. When was the last moment you knew you were going to make that? Because that last break that you were making, the angle that you made on it is one where you say, I have no other choice. This is what I have to do. What was going through your head as you had to make that choice?
I wasn't like, I was just like pushing the leg like consistently.
Yeah.
Don't want to like rip it because I know it's like, I try to avoid like injuring people. If someone don't tap, that's his choice, but it's better not to do it. So I was just pushing it like slowly and hoping for get the top.
A considerate savage. Thank you for being that. Tim, would you like to ask any questions here, sir?
Yeah. Do you feel like you were underestimated?
Yeah, I think yes. I may sound like a broken record, like again and again and again, but I'm here to make a statement. I'm here to prove all of you wrong if you don't believe in me, and I'm here to say that European and Polish jiu-jitsu in general is very fucking good. We are tough guys. We have our own stars, and we coming for you.
I believe you. I believe
Well,
you.
first of all, no, hold on.
personally.
Yes,
Can,
hey,
can you
listen,
make
we're
it
good,
very
we're good.
specific you're not coming for anybody at this table?
Nah.
Okay, great. Kevin will sacrifice, but Tim and I think we're
Yeah.
out of your age and weight category. Tim, one thing that we were talking about off air was just how you emerged as this front runner today. So even though you were maybe undervalued or underestimated, right now you look at the top side of today's action. Now, what does it feel like to go from being underestimated to really one of the top performers?
Bro, it feels awesome. It feel I get the point, and I'm just want to keep the momentum going. I'm not gonna stop by today. I'm going here tomorrow, do the same shit, and day after tomorrow again and again until I get to fucking playoffs and win it. That's the goal.
Kevin.
Yeah, have you considered going for as someone who's on my fantasy team? Have you considered maybe going for strangles? Is that in your arsenal? I just need to know what to expect.
Yeah, there's also I just want to say I'm not one trick pony, but if they give me the legs, I'll just take the legs.
Yeah, I mean you're very good at it. So maybe it's a winning strategy. Clearly, I've seen you. We call it here an inside spin.
Yep.
That entry into the leg. The same thing you go with.
Mm.
Is that what you guys?
Which one actually?
So when you're entering the leg from the top, you have an
Okay,
inside leg.
inside spin. Okay,
Yeah, we call it
that
inside
one.
spin. And you're entering there. I've seen you rep a variety of those, giving very little away. Obviously, that's a strategy you have in your arsenal. Entering the legs from the top is your primary.
Yep.
Do
as
you
well.
play much guard? Do you have any plans on that for certain opponents? You don't have to give away any particular strategy. I'm
So-
curious.
I try to be like well rounded and stuff. So see, like leg lock's going to be my main strategy, just leg lock them, but I can enter it from top, from bottom, from standing even. So
Yeah, you had a very, very smooth Victor roll off of, I believe it was Paul's takedown
Yeah,
attempt.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
nice.
So that's a goal as well to enter leg locks on multiple occasions. But in generally, I feel my cardio is pretty good as a big guy. So I try to take an advantage of it and just to make my opponent tired, and then the submission game's easy after it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna want to outside pass the shit out of them. If I'm from top, if I'm from bottom, just pushing, making pressure, make them break, and getting the subs.
Hearing "make them break" with your accent is
That's-
terrifying. Just outright.
You
terrifying.
do sound
I
like
went straight back to Rocky.
No, it's definitely an 80s villain in our American films. It's like, no, I will break them. I will make them feel pain.
Yeah,
It will be
how
good.
familiar you
So,
are with Western cinema.
I'm just like, oh
Yeah.
my God. But I'm sure in Europe, you're the hero. So that's how things work out here. But I will say this, dude. I think you gained a lot of new fans here today. And I think one of the great things about the PGF is we get to see people show out here. Day one, you showed out. I'm intrigued to see what you're going to be doing for the rest of the week. But I would love for you to stare at that camera right in front of you. It's a little bit higher, the top one right there. And if you would like to just tell the people where they can find you, give a shout out to anybody, maybe at home or your teams, that you want to say thank you for their help in getting you to here, sir.
Okay. So in general, my coach Kamil Luminski, which is my great supporter, and he's like a father figure for me. So I'm here because of him, because he gave me an option to do it. My team, such as Jacek, who's my strength coach and my huge supporter, and my fan, who's he's also a great part of just my preparation in general. My main training partner, Physiosphere. That's the pack. That's the fathers of my success. I want to thank them generally. I wish I get more seminars here. So if you're down, I'm down to just invite me.
Wait, who's not
think
trying
you're
to
gonna
get
get
that
him.
seminar right now?
Just keep breaking legs, dude. That's the way.
I was like, you know what? I think if anything, even if you're still scared of this man, I think you want to learn how to protect yourself. Because
Bro.
at this point, that's a very dangerous weaponry that you have, sir. So let's just say this. There's a good possibility we may be talking to you again later this week. But for now, I just wanted to make sure we commended you on your great performance today. That's why we wanted to talk to you on the show. So kudos to you, and way to go out there and show who you are and what your jiu-jitsu is all about. So congratulations to you,
Thank
sir.
you, guys.
We appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate Martin.
Thanks, Martin.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks, partner.
Appreciate your time. Thank you so much. All right, ladies and gents, we're going to get to our second guest here in just a second, but we want to continue thanking you. If you have questions, you can feel free to throw them in the comment section. I won't ask all of them, but I might. We'll see. Most of you don't ask good questions. Let's be honest. And most of the times when you guys are in the comment section, you guys think you're very good producers. You are not. It's rough. Anyway, some happier news. A friend is returning to the table, and we wanted to hear straight from him because we were concerned, but we also saw him put on a hell of a performance just a few minutes ago against the big monster in one Kyle Bam. So, ladies and gentlemen, returning back to the show, your friend and ours, one Davis Asari. Davis, how are you doing, sir?
I am good.
Okay, let's get it out there. How are you feeling?
How are you doing?
Yeah. What's going on with you, sir? Are you okay?
I guess so. I don't know. Everyone is telling me, "Oh, you can't compete. You can't do this, that." I feel fine.
Okay.
I feel
let's
fine.
let's get into that because define fine. Is it like people compete injured all the time?
Yes.
Nobody competes at 100%.
Yeah.
However, I heard noises that I cannot take back from my ears.
Yeah. For our viewers at home, this is a wheelchair, actually.
Oh my
So there was word backstage. Is he in? Is he out? And I don't like getting gossip, but I saw you go back out there, and that was immediately the moment when I go, bring him to the show so that we can just get a direct answer. So walk us through what happened during your second match, and then what was the thought process behind coming back to compete again?
Yeah. So I felt great against Ryan, and like the plan was because he was so heavy. I think I would have been able to maybe get us back through like a wrestling exchange or something, but as you see, that didn't happen. So
Hold on. You act like some of us haven't tried wrestling and failed way worse than anything you've ever done. But go on, sir.
But then he was able to get into my legs the first time, and I felt very confident because I've seen him do that like kind of inside outside type ashi where he has the foot on the outside and then pummels his legs on the inside. So when he went to do that, I just stood up, was able to clear the legs properly, back step, then back to passing again. So I felt super confident of just defending his leg attacks. But then when he got into it the second time, I got very overly confident, basically. I literally looked him in the eyes while he was breaking me at first. Like he was when he was reaching for my heel and everything, I kind of like just controlled his legs and just looked at him like, this is not going to work. I don't know why I did that, but
Trying to Jedi mind trick.
for some reason, I was so confident. But even when he caught my heel and ripped it, I was still like, in my mind, like, he's not going to break me. And even after that happening, he broke me, but still I competed. And I think my body, I kind of knew it got some pops and everything.
Yeah.
But still, like, I swear to God, for some reason, I didn't even think people heard that. I thought that crackle, you know that small crackle you get sometimes, and you kind of feel it inside your head and in your body's like, no one hears that, but you heard it. Does that make sense?
Nah, man, I'm
No.
not familiar with
No,
that small crackle in the head.
I honestly,
dude.
I'm with you.
yo, so I thought,
Elijah
like,
popped my ankle 2 seasons ago, and when it happened, it popped, and I felt.
yeah,
I pulled my foot out of the thing, and I heard ooh, and I was like, they didn't hear that.
no,
There's no way they heard that.
because I
There's no
don't know.
way.
I thought it
That
was
was me.
one of those. I thought it was one of those, but it was way louder than I found out. And then
Yeah, it was real loud.
yeah, because I watched the video. I watched the video back, and I saw okay, it was pretty bad. But still, afterwards, it hurt. It got a little bit inflamed and everything, but I was able to stand, walk, jump on it.
Well, no. Not only did you go back out there, you looked normal walking out. In fact, you almost were skipping out, and I was just concerned, like, did that make it stronger? And I'm going to ask a follow-up question here, which is that you let out this primordial grunt, and then it felt like an anime moment because you let out the grunt, and then you were like, and I've respawned new legs. And I just thought,
You just
oh,
piccoloed
no.
your leg back.
he's back. And then you have the assignment of Kyle. So I want to ask you, percentage-wise, in your head, what was the percentage you considered not doing that match?
It was very high. It was very high, but not only because I was like, I know for a fact this is gonna hurt way more tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, just because it's just how it is, and that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to compete against Kyle. I was like, I'm actually manageable to compete now, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to compete tomorrow.
Right.
So I was like, let me just take this chance. So at least if I won't be able to compete tomorrow, I did this match and I won't regret it. So I think that was one of the major reasons. But then again, a lot of people were just kind of talking into like they saw what happened, and they want me good. So obviously they're gonna tell me don't do it. And I listened to some of them, and I was like, oh, it makes sense. And I was at a point where I asked the alternate to do it. But then I just kind of recollected myself, and Elijah actually told me last second, and he even got it on film, which is kind of funny. He was like, you will regret it if you don't do it. And then I just ended up doing it, and then I'm pretty happy. Like, to be honest, if I did not end up in that referee position, I was able to just like even just stall out the match, I would have been content with it just because how big Kyle is. But the fact that he was able to force me in a position where I was not able to engage as much because I was afraid of my legs, where he forced me to a referee's position and half of the match was him on my back. And that's kind of like, I don't want to have a match where a guy is like on my back, you know? I don't like that. So I'm kind of like, now I'm like, was that worth it? I don't know. We'll see tomorrow.
There was a point where Kyle was entering your legs and you put both hands on the mat to pull your legs out.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, he really cannot drive off that foot.
Yeah. I had to use anything
And
else.
hit a cartwheel.
Yeah. That's so true, actually. I tried to like kind of kick out my leg with my opposite foot, but I felt it wasn't, so I just had to like just kind of just do like I don't know.
I mean, just by the way you're describing it, it sounds like you had your Brad Pitt, and that's why no one will remember your name moment, as you put on the helmet. Because I immediately thought of the implications of it, and then I heard word you were going to go ahead. And my first word, no shitting you, was, why? And then I realized, you know what? He wants to go out on his terms.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, you helped in a major way with your team.
Thank
like,
you.
You getting that block showed you were a team player as well as an individual player who wants to game out there. So
truly,
mad respect to you,
Thank
sir.
you so much.
It's hard to see that in the moment, and a lot of the times when I see that on the outside, I'm thinking, well, we like you, and we want to make sure you're good.
Yeah, I
So
understand it.
it's
Yeah,
the concern,
completely,
but
yeah.
at the same point, you're a grown adult. And you're
But
gonna
no,
make a choice.
I truly believe that me doing this again, like it may kind of gave me a new perspective of how like this was my worst day. Like on paper, this was my hardest day. Even though all of my matches tomorrow and then after that it's going to be hard as well. But on paper, this was the worst one, and it was, I think, also just the worst for my team in general.
Yeah.
And I think in actually just on team perspective is going to just go up from here. So I think just being able to not like lose that match kind of helped the team as well in a sense where it's like not only on the board but it's like we're still in it. I think that was kind of cool.
Momentum is a very strange thing
Yeah.
on this. So sometimes it may not seem like the biggest win, but to that team, they go home that night thinking, okay,
Yeah.
we got some momentum in this.
And
bid.
Carlos, shout out to fucking Abe clutching in with a 3-pointer, and then Elijah obviously a 6-pointer. Like he does what he does. This is why he's very good at PGF.
Fair
So
enough.
I think that's pretty cool.
Well, we're talking about you. Elijah said that. We don't have-
No, but just to like say, I want to actually just to lead it up to Carlos because after this whole thing, he had this sick speech that just hyped everyone up, which was crazy. Like I swear, I hope they got that on film because
That is cool.
I almost like fucking shed a tear, bro. It was crazy.
Oh.
He was hyping us up so well, and I think we'll hopefully perform a little bit better tomorrow.
That's what I love to hear. Tim, do you have any
Well,
questions, sir?
yeah, I hope you're hyped up because you talked about bad days, and tomorrow it could be a potentially bad day depending on how you feel, right,
Yeah.
in the morning.
Yeah.
I want to know how you're going to make that decision tomorrow, and then I also want to know how you feel about your schedule tomorrow. You have Marcin Masulovic, who busted up some legs today, okay? You have
Oh,
Travis
God help
Thomas,
me, bro.
who is like a hungry lion that didn't get fed today.
Yeah.
Right, so he's coming out tomorrow, and then you have Dorian. All these guys are tough guys.
Tough, huge as well. Like all of them are big, which is like my main problem right now. Because even though like let's say I'm not going against the top guys, like maybe not the dunkables, like in the midways, bro, the mid people here are so big. Like I can't even force anything on them. Like they're like I'm not a small guy, but like physicality matters a little bit, And it's 6 minutes to work. So if I can't even tire the big guy out, and they're still hitting me with stalling calls because I'm not engaging enough, because obviously I don't want to get my fucking shit right. So it's like, this is going to be a hard week for me, I think, especially when it comes to collecting points in general.
I would like to apologize. I didn't know that Tim was going to take the scared straight approach of, hey, in case you didn't read what your day's like tomorrow, here's the legend
I mean, I'm
killers
just
you got to
saying,
go through,
I
too.
hope you're pumped up from that.
No,
speech,
I'm
man,
ready. I'm
because
ready.
You're gonna need it.
Yeah, because my first day is a straight up a killer when it comes to leg locks in general. Big, won trials, is super good. So as long as I'm mobile on my feet and I feel as good as I did today, I'm definitely gonna fight him. I'm gonna fight him.
You know what, man? Again, I think you got such great respect from everybody watching at home and
Thank you.
doing this. I want you to do what's right for you, but I could never question your heart and how much you put into this. So I hope you know that. Do what you need to do. If we see you tomorrow, we're stoked for you. Scared, but I also know what you do to other people. So it kind of evens out at times.
Yeah.
But what I'd like to do is I'd like to let you get home, ice what you need to ice,
Yes.
elevate what you need to elevate, relax, and then tomorrow, I guess we'll see. You
We'll
got to
see,
tune in to
we'll
find
see,
out
bro.
what's going on. So
Yes,
we'll let you get out of here. Davis is sorry, everybody. Thank you so
Thanks,
much, brother.
Davis. Thanks, brother.
Anxiety on high, relaxing, coming down. Good work, my man. Thank you for your time, sir. Good Lord. This is how you can tell I'm getting old. And then just watching these kids go to compete, it makes you nervous for them. It makes you want to be able to tell them, like, I don't want you to compete. But Davis is a gamer, and if you watched last season, you know what he is capable of. And even today, even that match with him and Kyle Bame, if that's you when you're injured, you have some excellent jiu-jitsu that you were able to call upon. So very stoked for that. And yes, I think we're in the process of getting our last guest booked right now. So stay tuned. We have one more guest joining us at the moment. Listen, I got to tell you guys, this audience, it sees a lot of matches. And when they see a lot of matches, there are moments when they kind of get a little bit, not lazy, but they take things for granted. Sometimes they just kind of give the polite golf clap. People walk out and sometimes don't even get applause. They're like, oh, yeah, I should. Good job. Our guest right now is one of the people who ended up getting applause after his match with Cam Hurd, and that was enough to impress us here at the table, and I thought it was time to give him some love. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Caleb. How are you doing, sir?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me out here. Really grateful to be on the show.
Don't thank us. You did the hard work. You should be acknowledged for your hard work. Your match with Caleb, both of you, or I'm with Cam, both of you turned a color of red and pink that I didn't think possible. And I joked with Cam's strength and conditioning coach and said he looked like he was turning the color of when an evil villain is about to die in a video game. So that looked like a lot of pressure you were putting back on him. Tell us about that match, sir, from your perspective.
That was a scrap. I got to watch it back, but that one definitely got me exhausted. We went gas, all gas. That was a fun match. I want to watch it back. We'll see what happens. I really wanted to sub Cam, but, didn't make it happen.
He's a mini tank. You know what I
He's a
mean?
stud.
Like,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it is a hard task, but you guys, for whatever reason, made such a great clash that as I was watching it, I just had respect for both of what you were doing. Like, both of you looked like you were out there on a mission, and I'm glad the audience gave you your props. So I wanted to ask you about that, but what has this week been like to you thus far in? Because I know it's stressful. I know it's intense. How has it been from the draft to today?
Well, it was hard not to take it personally that I literally got skipped over in the draft, and they were like, let's just put him to the back of the line again. So I kind of had a chip on my shoulder coming into the today, and I really wanted to show that I'm not the last guy. So tomorrow's another day to prove that. I think I showed some people who I am today.
You know what's weird is sometimes the loudest voice is, I'm sure, the one that you hear in your head when you're like, no, I want this. I haven't gotten it yet. But what's nice is when you're us, we see things that you don't. So when I see your second match, I was like, there's the respect that man deserves, because people forget that. You become numbers, you become statistics, but you're goddamn human. So you're going out there and trying to put on a show. It's not like you're sitting there being like, oh, well, suck at jiu-jitsu, fun to discover. It's like, no, everybody here's pretty good at what they do.
Absolutely.
What was the appeal of coming to do this season? Because it is an intense season. You clearly have people who are good to be around. But for you, when you got that call and you were told to come do this, what did that feel like for you?
Phenomenal. And also, like, it shows that I'm doing, like, a lot of the right things, kind of manifested it. As soon as I saw they're doing a tournament for $100,000, I was like, I'm in. I saw they're doing a tournament for $1 million. I want to manifest that too. Um, yeah, I mean, I want to. I'm a full-time martial artist, and I want to be making like good money, not like a broke martial artist.
Listen, you're preaching to the choir here. I know that a lot of times martial artists who compete as athletes are like, man, I don't make money. And I was like, how much do you think the media makes? I don't know if you've gotten the memo on that, sir. It is a rough business for all, but I think we're starting to see this momentum turn in a very positive region, and you being on the building blocks to something even greater, I think can go a long way. So that's what I've got for you right now. Tim, do you have any questions, sir?
You had some pretty tough matches tonight, very active matches. You got after it, a lot of back and forth. How do you go home tonight and recover and get prepared for tomorrow?
I'll just kind of shake it off, you know. I'm gonna
You
watch.
just shake it off.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch my matches, see, you know, what mistakes I made, what I could have done better. You know, scout out who I'm gonna compete against tomorrow, and then tomorrow wake up, I'm gonna do like a cold plunge, sauna, and just, you know, yeah, like I said, shake it off and just bring that same chip on my shoulder into my matches tomorrow. Like I'm on a mission all week, not just Monday. You know, I'm showing up every day.
Kevin.
Yeah, I don't. I'm gonna end this with a question, but first, I think it's important I do this because you were. It's hard for an athlete to tell people how rough they've had it without sounding like they're whining. So I'm gonna do it for you. You were the one alternate last year that didn't get an opportunity to get on the mat and show that you belonged. You didn't get paid that season because you were an alternate. You didn't get on the mat. You didn't get paid. Your only opportunity would have been there. You got in the chat. We were all afterwards saying, hey, man, I would have loved to make a little bit of money. I would have loved to get a chance to compete. You didn't get a chance in the finale to compete. We tried to get you paid. Rough shot. Come into this season, you have to see all the rankings weren't giving you a lot of credit. Again, it is a stacked roster, but it's got to be rough seeing like, man, time after time, I'm not where I believe I should be. And then you come in, you get walked. And you're the only athlete that got walked, and everybody is talking about it. They pick up Abe. He's sitting right behind you, chomping at the bit to get your spot. And then you put on a performance today that showed people you absolutely belong here. You can put on a show. You're exciting. You've got heart. You've got grit. You absolutely belong here. So I want to give you all the credit in the world for that, man. What are you looking forward to for the rest of the week? Now that you have shown you belong, I don't think you – I mean, keep the chip on your shoulder. You got to keep that motivation somewhere. But I don't think you necessarily – I think you've won a lot of hearts. What are you looking forward to the rest of this week?
Thank you, Kevin. First of all, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, no, I'm keeping the chip on my shoulder. I'm here to make money. I'm here to win, to make money. That's it. I'm a professional martial artist. I'm here to win, and that's it. And people will continue to see. Apparently, I won a lot of hearts today. That's great. Keep watching. Keep tuning in. See what I got in store for y'all.
I like that, sir. You know, it's interesting because we talk about these things. I'm going to give you a second here to plug your stuff, but I do want to put one perspective on you, which is keep the chip on your shoulder, but don't let the chip weigh you down. And then right when you need to go, see the opportunity that you have. And then remember that opportunity is not happening for everyone, because that's what happens when people are like, yo, I feel this weight. I feel this pressure. They put it on themselves because that chip gets heavy. But what I notice is you've got such a great opportunity right now. Fucking live in that, because that, I think, is how you got your second performance. I think that was when I just saw you doing what was natural. You were at your best. So take that from just a casual observer. I just saw you perform when you had somebody who was down to scrap with you, and you were like, oh, this is gonna be fun, exhausting, but
That was my
fucking
funnest
fun.
match tonight.
Yeah.
For sure, with Cam.
And I went up, I had to go shake Cam's hand too. I was like, hey man, you know, you guys put on a show. And legitimately, when I saw everybody break into that applause break, I was like, those two boys deserve their props tonight. And I felt like I didn't see that for anybody else get to that level of matched upness tonight, where they both got their respect. So that's a very hard line to hit. So tonight, when you go home, think about that. But what I would like to do, you got a camera right there. It's the one like slightly higher. What I'd like you to do is go ahead and give a shout out to friends, family members. Tell people how they can support you, seminars, privates, all that good jazz. Plug what it is that people can find you and where they can see you, sir.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful for the opportunity. You can find me at the Peaceful Warrior MMA on Instagram. I'm going to be doing my very first seminar next week at Verde Valley in Arizona.
Hey.
So come watch, see what I got. Grateful for my team, High Altitude Martial Arts. Shout out to Avery Brooks. He's put a lot of work into me, and I'm super grateful. Shout out to all the people that have supported me. Massive Supplements, Noxy Supplements. Let me see. Ex Marshall has been sponsoring me. Just a whole village of people have helped me, and I'm just grateful. And I want to, give back once I've gotten what I need out of this.
Well, good, man. Congratulations to you. And to everybody out there who saw our rankings, it was like, yo, you're sleeping on your goal. I was like, oh, you know what? Everybody, shut up. We like everybody. Okay? But he's here. We're going to give him his time. And guess what? The best way to beat the rankings is to just perform. And today we saw him do one of those first big steps for it. I look forward to seeing what else you got here for the rest of the week, sir. But congratulations to you. And I look forward to seeing you on the mats, my man.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
Quite an honor.
Nice work, man.
That's how you know he has a good support system, because they're coming in at us. And they're just like, yo, you guys don't know. And I was like, yo, everybody chill. We don't know. I love that stuff. But that's how you know you got a great support system, brother.
Thank
Please
you so
enjoy
much.
your night, my man.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. We're about to close this up. But before we do, I think it's time. Oh, I got that one shot on me right now. Ladies and gents, we're going to bring something to the attention of the court. And this is the first time that we've done this segment. So I don't know how this is essentially going to go when it's live like this. But I did kind of buy something here. And we did have a topic that did kind of merit a little bit of what we call a PGF court. So normally we do this on our show, but we thought we'd do a live version of it for y'all. This might actually be background. This might be backwards. But today, nope, this is not going well yet. For your attention here, people, be it resolved. Today we have a debate, and the debate is very simple. The question is, should athletes here at the PGF be allowed to bring in their alternates? Now, this was something of a little bit of a controversy. We had some people who seem to believe if you have an alternate, they should be able to play. However, the ruling, as per our executive producer and showrunner, Keelan Lawyer, is that they have to be injured. So I thought I would bring it to the attention of this court here today for Tim and for Kevin to argue whether we should be able to do it at the PGF or not. I'm going to go ahead and start with you. Tim, you have 1 minute to make an opening statement. Your time begins now.
My argument is that you should only be able to bring in a replacement if you are indeed injured. There are 20 men on the roster, 17 are invited, and 3 earned their position through the qualifiers. There's $100,000. It's divided up amongst the team of 5 for $20,000 each. It's part of the reason why you have to earn your spot at the PGF is to have a shot at that money. You earn it with your performances, and you earn it not just your performances here, but your performances leading up to it. You have to earn it. You have to earn the right to fight for the money. And I'm going to prove to you today against Kevin that that is what you indeed need to do.
Thank you for your opening statement. You still had 15 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Nope, you lost them. Kevin, your opening statement begins now.
Great start. Great start, Tim. So I'm here to tell you that you should be able to put in an alternate whenever you want, for whatever reason you want, however you please. If you care about the entire roster, all 28, 29 if you count the invisible alternate, 28 people on this roster, you need to allow them all to compete whenever it's available. Rotations are a part of every sport, and as soon as you start allowing us to use alternates as we wish, you drive up the value of those alternates. We saw it at the auction. We saw Abe kicking back like a king as all 4 coaches did what they've never done before and clamored to get this man and tell him why they should be the team that he picks. That turntable moment drives home the value of allowing an alternate to be a player and to get mat time
3,
and to get a chance
2,
at that money
1.
like everyone else.
And thank you very much for that, Kevin. Kevin, you will start cross-examination of Tim. Your time begins now.
Tim, I would like you to define earn it. You repeated that multiple times in your initial statement. I would like you to tell me exactly what that means in a single sentence.
Is that a cross-examination question, Your
It's
Honor?
clarification, so he would like to know that.
Well, what I mean by earn it is, one, you have to be invited to a main roster spot, meaning the first 20, the first 17, or you have to win a qualifier.
Do you believe that when you say win a qualifier or be invited, are the alternates not invited?
They are not invited to a top 20 position. No, they are not.
You don't believe the other 8 positions have value, is what you're implying. Is that true?
They are not ranked in the top 20 rankings.
My question is, do you believe they have value?
Not according to the PGF rankings.
But according to the actual results that they put up, they have put up points. They have defined the PGF
5,
last season.
4,
Dane Leak walked
3,
away with 10 grand because he was
2,
extremely valuable.
1. And thank you for your time. Tim, your cross-ex begins now.
Kevin, does the PGF provide paid holidays or sick days?
No.
Kevin, if you're injured and you can't work, do you take a sick day or a vacation day?
Yes.
Do you take a sick day or a vacation day?
A spa day.
Can you define spa day? Is that sick or is that vacation?
Man, I stay sick.
So it's okay. If an
Sick as
athlete,
fuck.
hey, don't eat my time. If an athlete's injured and they can't compete at the PGF, is it true that Brandon McCaffrey makes them compete anyway?
No.
He does not make them compete. Is it true that he brings an alternate in?
The coaches and the athlete decide, as we saw with David Sari earlier, who
Based
brings the
on
alternate.
based on an injury?
Based on their own choice, their own strategic decision over that risk-reward assessment.
Commissioner Brandon and Keelan Lawyer have the final call on that, and I believe the ruling right now is that you have to be injured.
5,
Is that correct, Kevin?
4,
is that the ruling right now,
3,
Kevin?
No.
2.
That is
1.
the ruling right now,
It is
Kevin.
not.
That will be time expiring. Thank you for the cross-examination. Tim, you will now begin your closing statement.
This is a guy who would have you believe that alternates make the game better, but it's not. This is really a guy that hates himself every time he looks in the mirror, and he looks in the mirror a lot. I'm talking like a lot. He's trying to become a 7, but Kevin's not a 7. He's guilty of taking a spa day in season 5. He couched it as an injury, but he got a mani-pedi, he got a spray tan, had a consult for a hair system. He was trying to bump himself up from a
hair
6
system.
to a 7 because he had strong competition from some of the other players for the most handsome title. That's all Kevin's worried about, and that's why he wants you to be able to alternate athletes. And if you could, you wouldn't have seen the man that sat next to me here 5 minutes ago, one Caleb Crump. He would have been swapped out, and you would not have seen him tonight. You would have missed him if you believe in what Kevin has to say. This
4,
man is a liar.
3,
He leaves the toilet seat up
2,
and he litters.
1. I'm going to strike the last part of that. I don't find that to be relevant to the case. Nonetheless, I will give Kevin 1 minute and 5 seconds to take away from the time from Tim. Thank you.
Your Honor, I would also like the hair system to be struck. This is all natural.
I saw how your hair looked yesterday. It is anything but natural. Go on, counselor.
And obscene. I don't. This court is a mockery. I'm so upset.
I will reduce more time.
All right. Every sport, every major sport has alternates. They have substitutes. They allow you to play a strategic game. You want a variety of skill sets. You want a 6th man. You want a Jamal Crawford that can come in and give you points based on certain matchups. I would argue that you give more value to more athletes, which ultimately is the name of the game. It's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to uplift as many as possible, not crowd it all in some arbitrary system that dictates whether you're injured enough or whether a spa day is a real injury. It leaves it in the hands of the athletes, the coaches, and the people who are actually playing for the money, the people who are actually putting it on the line, not outside observers or
5,
spectators,
4,
but the people
3,
who have
2,
the shot.
1. Gentlemen, thank you both for your argumentations. I'll just very quickly address both of your points. Tim, you attacking the spa day of Kevin Sherrill is cunning, uncouth, and perhaps unprofessional. Thus, it was your best argument. Kevin, you looking at Tim and trying not to re-argue the fact that he said, hey, this ruling affected Caleb Crump. That works two ways if you think about it. Unfortunately, Tim put that at the end of his argumentation, perhaps still realizing that Caleb was just in that seat next to him only 9 minutes ago. Gentlemen, this is going to be a divisive issue, and I understand that my ruling will have long-standing effects. But I will argue in favor today of Kevin Sherrill for this particular reason.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Kevin Sherrill was able to make the first argument that, yes, you should be able to have players on the bench that can come off. That does not necessarily reflect the opinions of this court, but it does invite a conversation that Abe the Mountain behind me was threatening. Thus, I should entertain it to make sure I am not affected. This will be something that I believe will be debated by our PGF brethren and our overlords here.
Tim,
What's
would you
that?
like my hair system guy?
First of all, hold on. You know what? Reversing my decision. Tim, you have now won the debate. Strike
It was worth it.
everything
I'm
I
not
said.
sorry.
We do not go to bald jokes here, especially from someone who left a clump of hair in the headset yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, that is how we do things here at PGF Court. We thank you for watching, and our thanks to our guests, Marcin, who wants to take the name? Marsulowicz?
Masulovic.
Masulovic. See, the thing is, I feel like somebody, first of all, don't do that to me. Second of all, I feel like he switched it up on me on purpose.
He did.
So we
100%.
thank him, Davis Asari. We thank Caleb Crump. Thank you guys for watching all day today. As a reminder, tomorrow we are right back here for your official pre-show. I know they said 4 p.m. is when the matches start, but if you want to hang out with us a little bit beforehand, we'll have some more unseen interviews starting at about 3 p.m. So that's 3 p.m. Best Coast time. Then the official pre-show with us starts at approximately 3:30. So watch that, watch the action, and then come back tomorrow night for more interviews, more analysis, and more shenanigans. I mean, I'm wearing a fucking judge's robe, so
It
I mean,
looks
obviously.
good on you,
You
though,
do
dude.
think-
I mean,
You're wearing that.
you
Can I-
look very Supreme Courtish.
Can I tell you this? This is like my dad's dream that I did not live up to. So this is definitely something that I think we entertain. On behalf of Kevin Sherrill, Tim Freeman, and myself, Rafa Sparza, thank you so much for watching a complete day of action here at the PGF. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.